Ah yes, the FTX Comet. Designed to be the ideal first RC car and billed by many people as such. But as we've discussed on this channel, I'm not so sure about that. No, I'm not so sure. There are too many flaws that are kind of fun breaking as standard, such as the servo saver being set up completely wrong, so it was activating while normal driving. The 2-in-1 ESC receiver in this one is playing up. I don't know if that's a common thing, but it's cutting out all the time and I'm getting range issues, and the performance is really lackluster. It's got a small motor, but it's a small Truggy. The motor shouldn't really be the problem here. It's the low amperage of this 2-in-1 ESC speed controller, this ESC receiver, and the servo which comes with it has a funny 5 cable plug that goes into the ESC receiver, which means if you replace that ESC, you also need to replace the servo. So there's a few odd things going on with it. The performance hasn't been amazing. Obviously the retail price is only £70. You wouldn't expect it to be amazing, but some really sort of fun breaking flaws with it. Today we are aiming to fix them all. We've already, on a previous video, repaired the steering servo. I've already serviced the shocks. Found that this one, the shock shaft on this one, is damaged. It's got a score in it, which means every time it goes past the seal it's got a chance of leaking and you can feel it. That's never ideal. Someone's built it wrong in the factory and tried to use pliers or something, I think. But anyway, aside from that, I've sorted the suspension out, sorted the steering out. It's now to sort out the power. That's what we're going to do today. However, before we do that, we're going to have one last run as standard to get a feel for what the performance is like right now and to see obviously what the improvements are. So, hello fly, or wasp. So yes, let's get cracking. Yeah, the performance doesn't exactly light the world on fire, but at least it handles properly now, after I've sorted it all. See if we can donut it. No. Not really. One. Okay, really soft power delivery. Really soft. Is that it? That's not flat already. That battery is fully charged. Yep, it's cut out. Well, that was from fully charged. That's how good that battery is. Wow. Well, that was cut short. It wasn't temperatures or anything. All the temperatures were fine. It wasn't thermal shutdown. It was literally just the battery got flat. 1000 milliamp hours this little 6.4 volt lithium ion is. But that was really quick. You know, from a little, I think it's a, what size is that? 370 or something sized motor. Yeah, that was pretty brief. Anyway. There we are. I'm going to finally basically allow this little FTX to run at its full potential. Now that the suspension's sorted and the steering is sorted, it's time to sort out the powertrain and the electronics. So, to get rid of the rather awful 2-in-1 FTX system, first of all I'm going for the brilliant little Hobbywing Quick Run 1060. It's a great little brushed ESC 2 or 3S LiPo compatible, also takes nickel metal hydride, so you've got the jumper cables to switch. You also got jumper cables here to switch between forward, brake and reverse, forward and brake, or just forward and reverse. Good little speed controller, retail price just over £20, you know, brilliant little thing. E-tronics are the electrical suppliers for many of the FTX models, and some of the bigger ones use E-tronics servos. So I've got an E-tronics servo here, just hoping that's going to be the right spline. It should be the right spline to replace this little servo that comes with this this Comet. To explain what I said earlier, see this cable here? That's the cable from the servo. That's not a standard servo cable. There's 5 rather than the standard 3. There's the standard one. Come on. There you go. Standard 3. This one's more like almost like a LiPo balance plug, and that's how it's supplying the servo with power. So as I said, you replace the ESC, you got to replace the servo. So that's what I've done. And for the radio gear, again, E-tronics bog standard. These are cheap and cheerful. These E-tronics Pulse 2 channels. The only downside to these is they take 8 AA's rather than the standard 4 these days. But it's a much sturdier, better made system than it comes with this Comet. This is pretty horrible feeling. These feel quite substantial. I've got more than one of these. I've got one in my lunchbox, and I believe the one on my FTX Outlaw is also one of these things. So I've used these a few times. I quite like them for what you get for your money. So what we're doing is unlocking the potential of this little truck. The problem is, this truck retails at £70, and if it was running fine, you know, with the shocks fine and the servo saver all right for £70, it doesn't seem too bad value for money at all. It seems quite good. But the problem is when you come to upgrade it, because if you replace the speed controller, you have to replace the radio gear as well. If you replace the radio gear, you got to replace the speed controller, and either way, you also have to replace the servo. So all in, you know, you're talking around about £30 for this, just over £20 for this, around about a tenner for this, or there near enough. So that adds £60 onto the retail price. So that takes it up to £130 once you've sort of got it running the way I think it should be running as standard. £130 is too much for this little buggy. It is too much. £130 is basically almost smack in the middle of budget 1/10 territory. So we'll see how much difference it makes. I hope it makes a big difference and it becomes much more fun to use. But let's just see. And there we are. That didn't take long. That's the Quick Run 1060, the E-tronics 2.4 GHz system. Incidentally, that LiPo, that 2S LiPo I'm using, is a really, really tight fit. There's no space whatsoever to give. It's really jammed in there. I was going to cut up these old bits of foam to pad it out so it doesn't bang around like this one bangs around inside the battery tray, but I don't need it. This is such a snug fit. Already tested, it's all working, so let's go outside and see what the difference is. Yeah, she's a bit of a handful now on this dirt. I bet she's way better on tarmac. And I bet we can donut. Oh yeah. I wonder if we can wheelie. Probably on tarmac. How much better was that? So much better. Considering it's the same motor, it had bags more power, loads more power. And that little 1300 LiPo has still got loads of juice left in it. So you get more runtime, you get more performance, you get more reliability, you get more speed. Just everything is plus. You get better steering. Yeah, this has transformed this into a really good little buggy now. A really good little buggy. I really like it. However, down to the nitty gritty. This is supposed to be a beginner model. Would I recommend this to a beginner? Well, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pros first. It looks fantastic. Seriously, I cannot believe this is the same company that does the finish on this that also does the finish on my Outlaw. This puts the Outlaw utterly to shame. The finish is so much better. The finish on the Outlaw is appalling. I have stickers upside down on my Outlaw. The chassis on this is quite competent as well. It's it's a basic buggy design with slightly longer arms for the Truggy. Yeah, it might not even be slightly longer arms to be honest, but it's a simple design, very much like my Madrat or whatever. Quite stiff. There's a little bit of flex in the back end where the gearbox is, but plenty competent enough for what what you want for this little thing. The plastics are good, way better than the old FTX Surge used to be. So it's got a bit of flex in there. It'll take hits better. Oil-filled shock's always a plus. Non-adjustable, but that in this case is a plus because they're stronger and they're thicker. I'm talking about the links here. Yeah, that'll be better for beginners. Price is also good on the face of it. £70 retail is fine, absolutely spot on, especially when it looks this good. But that's only on the face of it. Cons. Wasn't built very well. The servo saver was an absolute joke as standard. I've sorted that now. The shocks were not working properly. One of them was damaged. The 2-in-1 radio and speed controller is terrible. The fact that you have a servo that needs replaced as well when you replace that is even worse. Basically, the upgradability on this is almost, that was almost the same value again, just to, it was £70 to buy it, and it was £60 to upgrade it. So you're almost doubling the retail price just to get it running right. It's funny. I reckon this will be an absolute riot on tarmac because these tyres are a bit overwhelmed on this dirt, especially with this extra torque in it it's got now. It'll be good fun, especially chasing a 1/10 buggy around. That'll be good fun. But the ironic thing is, I couldn't really recommend this to beginners, even though it's aimed at beginners. But I maybe could slightly more recommend it for people like myself who are more veterans of the hobby and enjoy building, well, not building in this case, but enjoy upgrading and transforming something. That's kind of more where this is at, which is not where it's aimed at. So, as a beginner, it's difficult to recommend this, it really is. I know some people bang on about it on YouTube. I've seen some people say, oh, it's the perfect starter RC. It's just not, as far as I'm concerned. It really isn't. Not unless you want to spend money and time upgrading it. Now the good thing is that helps you learn to upgrade it because you're having to learn what to do. But straight as a beginner right away, new to the hobby, wants to put it on the road and go. And this just isn't ready for that. It's just, this should have a proper ESC receiver. Not as good as the Quick Run. That would bump the retail price up too much. But a proper ESC receiver and a proper servo, bump the price up to maybe £80 retail rather than 70. That's doable. That's absolutely doable. Yeah. I am struggling to recommend this for beginners. I would say no. Because by the time you get to this performance it's kicking out now, that's £130. That's too much because a Carnage is that price. If we're sticking with FTX, a Carnage is that price. And yes, this now has got a bit more oomph than a Carnage Brothers standard because a brushed Carnage also has a pretty poor ESC with a very long build up in speed, whereas this is now like greased lightning off the mark. But the Carnage is it's more robust, it'll take hits better, It's got more presence. It'll drive over rougher terrain. It looks more impressive when they're side by side just because of the scale of it. And then you've got things like, okay, HPI are on the rebound just now, but the Maverick Strada. I love the Maverick Strada XT, which is the Truggy version of the Maverick Strada. Again, it's a 1/10 scale. It's 4-wheel drive. It's ready to run. It's 150, so it's £20 more, and it's just twice the model of this. So, no, I couldn't recommend this as for beginners, honestly. I wouldn't turn around and say, if you're a beginner, get one of these. I wouldn't say that, because you couldn't say that. If HPI bounce back and you're a beginner, get a Maverick Strada. The XT's cool, the MT's cool, the XB's cool. They're all good looking. Not the old Stradas, they weren't very good. However, as someone who fancies a cheap model which can then upgrade and just have a laugh and hoon around, someone slightly more experienced in the hobby, yeah, why not? £130. The finish is much nicer, although it doesn't look as impressive as a Carnage. It's much nicer looking. The body work is much nicer. The design is much nicer. It's fun snapping at the heels of bigger things. It's something different. Yeah, it's weird. It's ironic, but if you're more of a veteran, maybe consider spending £130. Maybe not quite £130. You could probably get a slightly better deal. I mean, obviously, I bought a Hobby Wing. You could probably get some sort of cheaper brand. The Hobby Wing's quite well priced. Some Chinese thing from eBay or something. I haven't said that, £20 is not really much, is it? You could probably do it for 120 maybe, all in. 120 all in for that, the way it goes? Maybe. Yeah. A good buggy, good truggy, good truck overall, good fun, quite well made, looks good, but nah, couldn't recommend it. Honestly, couldn't recommend it. But I like it. Sounds like a Top Gear conclusion, doesn't it? Not the best, but it's the one you should get. Nah, couldn't recommend it. Put your money elsewhere if you're a beginner, I think. But tell me what you think. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Would you buy one at, sorted one at £130? Would you buy it at 70 and endure the shock's not working right and the steering servo wobbling all over the place and the rubbish run time and doesn't sound very convincing, does it? Right guys, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.